What's being proposed, the total is 919 multifamily units. Related to parking, we would be memorializing the city's 2014 approval of their parking reduction study, which authorized 12.4% reduction in the total number of stalls. Also, one of the things that they'd asked for is that they'd be able to invest into the current multifamily parking rate. That's the one per unit plus one guest space for every 4 units.
I'm just trying to get a little bit of clarification. So the major changes here are that they're being allowed an additional 119 residential units. But the real question is do we have any concessions that will prevent what's happened in Schoolhouse, where at some point in the future, they charge for parking and then people move from the parking lot into street parking or to public parking? Is there anything currently in this modification?
No, there's not.
So the 1.25 spots per unit, that could be for a 1-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, right?
It's for multifamily dwellings. It doesn't matter how many bedrooms are in it.
Right. The problem that I see here is that when we've got this per unit charge for parking spots, it doesn't take into account how many people are likely going to be driving. And I remember going and looking at that section in Woodin Creek on 138th, there wasn't going to be the option to do below grade retail or commercial, and that was why we okayed this residential. 3 years ago when the council talked about it, there was an understanding that we would ask for something in return in a development agreement. I think we should ask for affordability. I noticed they're coming in before we have our housing strategy that comes online. They want to get in under the wire. I think we should ask them to add some level of affordability at 80% AMI for the remaining 119 spaces. Is that something that this council would be willing to push for, since this is part of our action plan?
Councilmember Taylor.
How many units are going to be owner occupied?
These are apartments.
Okay, back in 2013, I was on the Planning Commission, and we were told that the last phase may be owner occupied type of units.
Would always like to give more options when we can. Can we ask if they would do one or the other? Say that, for these 119 units, either give us 80% AMI on 20% of them, or say that you're going to build 1 and 2 bedrooms, which might have less impact on parking. That way that it's, one of them obviously would require a design change for them. Another one would just be, augmenting their profit stream a little bit. So I think that those 2 options could be something that we should ask for, because parking and affordability are 2 problems that we have.
I believe the motion here is to hand this back to the city manager so he can continue to negotiate this.
They are under a deadline. Their development agreement expires, I believe, the 1st or shortly thereafter of June. They have to do an amendment. We can't amend something that's expired. So they have a finite window here to get this done.